they've been resilient all year, and I don't know if I've seen that in a playoff game. I don't know if I've been a part of it. Maybe I have. But to be down 18, 19, 20, whatever we were down, and to find a way to come back and win. I mean, I take my hat off to my group. Cleveland, they were shooting the ball well. They were turning us over. They were getting the ball in the pocket and taking advantage of us. And we just found a way. We found a group of 5 guys that went out there, ended up getting stops, and scoring the basketball. Yes, Landry Shamet was great. Landry Shamet was great on both ends of the floor. He came up big. You're not going to stop a guy like Donovan Mitchell. You just got to make him work, and Landry tried like heck to make him work. He was fantastic. He was the difference in the ball. Our guys were really active defensively. We were 5 for 5 when it came to 50-50 balls. It was just a great defensive performance in the last quarter and overtime. So great win by our guys, and obviously we don't get it done if Jalen Brunson doesn't play like one of the MVP guys in the league. He was phenomenal. He did what he was supposed to do tonight, and it definitely helped us get the win.
Coach, in the fourth quarter there, you got a lot of Brunson on Harden.
Yeah.
I mean, was that just something you guys were looking for, and is that kind of an advantageous matchup for you that really helped you guys down the stretch?
Yeah, it's sometimes you got to do what the game dictates, and they were trying to do the same thing with Jalen, and so we said, okay, we feel like we can play that game. We try not to play that game much, but we feel like we have a guy that we can play that game with in Jalen. And so, just like we have to try to figure out different ways to guard Harden and Mitchell, they got to figure out different ways to guard Jalen. But there's no secret we were attacking Harden.
Mike, what was your thought process 9 minutes to go when you went with Landry? Like, what did you see at that point that let you know that's where I have to go?
We talked about it throughout the course of the game. We talked about it this morning as a staff too. We feel like we can get some spray threes, and Landry's been shooting the ball really well for us. And you have Landry out there, you have OG out there, you have McHale out there, and you have Cat or Mitch and Jalen, and they have to guard traditional. If they want to put a big on Landry, great, put a big on Landry. If you want to put a big on OG, great, put a big on OG. But then when you close out, you're going to have to take away the 3 and the drive. So we just felt defensively, Landry's a big guard. He's physical, moves his feet great, and he can defend without foul. And so to play him, knowing that they're going to pack the paint when Jalen comes and the spray is going to be there, that's what we decided to do.
Mike,
besides the shot making, Jalen, it looked like there was one huddle where he looked like he was kind of animatedly going at everybody. Just kind of, were you seeing something in the huddle from him, captain-wise?
No, he's a leader. He's our guy, and he felt we need to play faster. He felt we needed to be better defensively. There were a couple of things that he felt, and he made sure that we knew, and our guys responded to him.
Mike, you mentioned a little bit Landry opening up the offense and them having a big. The other side of that was them having Jared Allen on Josh and Lane's kind of clogging up in those moments. What do you feel like in those moments when Josh is on the court and they're guarding him with Allen that you guys can do to open up more space when they have that matchup?
We got to keep moving him around. If Josh is open and his feet are set, he's got to let it fly. He's made shots. We feel like he'll make shots. And if he doesn't want to shoot it, he can get to his midi, or he can go DHO with somebody, a quick DHO with somebody. So, Josh, we faced this coverage all year, and we played well throughout the course of the year, and we faced it in Atlanta. So we just, we started the game off 2 for 19 from the 3-point line. And it wasn't just Josh. We had some pretty good looks from the right people. And, if those go in, the mojo's a little bit different. And, they didn't. And Cleveland was able to get back into it. And so, we just, the game's about adjustments. We made an adjustment down the stretch, and, we were fortunate to be able to come back and get the win.
Mike, you've talked about this team's resilience all year. When you're down 22 so late, does any part of you consider packing it up and moving on to game 2? Did you expect your team to be able to make that massive a comeback that late in the game?
There was still a lot of time, and I felt that if we open the floor up a little bit and we hit a couple threes while getting some stops, our crowd is fantastic. It's the best in the league, and our guys felt their energy. As soon as we got a couple of stops, made a couple of shots, the crowd was right back in the game. And so when you got 9 minutes and something seconds left on the game clock, I've seen us defend in the fourth quarter out of this world. And you open the floor up a little bit. Now it just takes the right guys shooting the basketball and knocking down some shots. Like I said, Mikal hit a couple big ones. Landry hit some big ones. And when that happens with the crowd that we have, shout out Knicks fans. You guys were freaking awesome tonight. Anything can happen.
Mike, it gets a little lost with the comeback, but Mitch, their decision to foul him and then send him to the line. I mean, you left him out there for a pretty long time. I guess what went into that is that just wanting to give him a chance, to shoot through it, I guess.
Yeah, you wanted to give him a chance, and Mitch has been great for us the last few games in that situation, and we're going to continue to give him a chance. We'll move him around and do some different things with him, but Mitch can impact the game in different ways, and so we need him on the floor.
All right, we'll do a couple more.
Mike, considering the schedule, you guys have had, multiple days off, over a week off. Cleveland have been playing in this sort of every other day schedule. Did you think that fatigue could play a factor late in the fourth quarter if you hung around and you needed to have an extra energy burst like you had?
It's hard. We did tell our guys. I mean, it is known that Cleveland's guards, they've played 50% more minutes than our guards, and so if you're playing every other day, could that take a toll? We told our guys it could take a toll, so stay with it no matter what the score is down the stretch. But you don't really know if it does or not. But you hope, telling your guys that it gives you a little bit of a psychological advantage. I'm a let out a secret. When I was with Golden State, we played Houston in the playoffs. We counted James Harden's dribbles. And we told our guys, hey, he's dribbling close to 1,000 times. He's not doing that anymore because they got Donovan Mitchell. But at the time, we were like, he's dribbling almost 1,000 times a game. And, our high guys, KD at like 300 or right below 300, keep picking them up full court, keep making them dribble, because at the end of the series, at the end of games, it's going to wear them down. And did it? Probably not, but you say stuff like that to help give your guys a psychological advantage. So I don't know.
Coach, I want to go back to the resiliency part of what you said about this team. Like throughout the course of a game, there could be bad breaks and there could be like bad effort. And there are times where, again, you guys were struggling to kind of make a stop, and then the ball just wasn't bouncing you guys' way. Like, did you ever have to, like, at one of the timeouts, kind of get on them on their effort to get the momentum back in you guys' favor?
Yeah, and especially early on, we didn't look like ourselves, especially when we were doubling and coming out of the double teams and kind of flying around. We were really slow in those areas, and then I felt we played. We turned the ball over too much. We had too many. It's hard to have 19 turnovers and win a basketball game, and a handful of them were self-inflicted. Us throwing the ball away, us jumping in the air when we hit the paint. We've done a fantastic job most of the playoffs playing off of 2 feet when we hit the paint. And we just kept leaving our feet and throwing the ball around. So we have to do a better job taking care of the ball. We have to do a better job of making sure that no matter what coverage we're in, we're continuing to do it at the highest rate when it comes to energy and effort. And with the focus, we have to be locked in, and it's great to get a win during this time of the year, knowing that we can be better. And I'm sure Cleveland feels like they can be better too, but we know we can be better.